Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out, let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. I have such a big smile on my face, right? Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's just in seeing that little bit of movement. Sometimes you see the stumbles and the pylons and the trees on the road, and we don't look at the rainbows. We don't see the couple sitting under their porch, their wraparound porch, hugging each other and appreciate the rain. It's turning into a world where we're paying more attention to the inside, and that is a really, really good thing. But our connection to the outside is so important. Like, so important. I don't even know if it's possible for us to make any real movement without having somehow that connection to the outdoors. It's a big part of my brand. I explore the inside and the outside, and even for myself, because I spend so much time on the inside that I don't spend a lot of time like I used to on the outside. And I've been sitting here and editing my provincial park tour videos for 2 days. I got it all done, you guys. Oh, it's like pulling teeth with me, but I got it done. I still have a little bit to do when it comes to the descriptions and the end screens and stuff. But after my live show tonight, I'll get it all posted and listed. So in the morning, I can just hit that live button and we're off and running. But, you know, did I just go off track in that? I did, because I saw Hannah out of the corner of my eye and I lost track. So we're just going to ask that comes back. And we were talking about how we don't spend enough time on the outside. I don't think I would be here where I'm sitting here right now if I didn't have that. Lots of people call it grounding, in spending time in the outdoors. And, yeah, that telluric energy, that's scientifically a real thing. But I look at, you know, nature, and I call it Mother Nature. You'll hear me refer to it like that all the time. It's a '70s things, right? Because there was a saying in the '70s that was really popular. When anybody tripped you up or something, you go, "Don't fool Mother Nature," or "You can't fool Mother Nature." And so, ever since a kid, and I was a kid at the time, and TV was a big thing in the '60s and '70s. It was something brand new, and color TV came in. It was a wild time to live in the '60s and '70s. But when the world is meant to make some fast movement, wow, we can sure do it in a small span of time, right? That was 1967 when man first stepped foot on the moon. Wasn't that crazy? We are moving we are moving really, really fast, but moving fast, we can't forget, to hold on to the organic, because, Mother Nature was here first. Mother Nature is the start of this, right? If it wasn't for Mother Nature, the sun wouldn't have anything to beat down on and get stirring like it is. You know, it's an amalgamation and an assimilation of a lot of different events. We'll just call it events that made it possible that we had gotten to this point, right? And even though we are like million gillion times 100 times removed from the species of trees. There was at one point where our kind started off that way, right? It started with the seed, right? It started with the seed. It could have it could have started by so many different things, and we spend a lot of time trying to analyze and figure out what those things are. But I don't think it's necessary all the time to compulse about it, right? Not on a main mind kind of way, right? There are always going to be people where that's their passion, that's their thing, that's the perfect person for that job, right? And each one of us has that. We just, not all of us know what that is. And we just stumble along, just doing the best that we can and just staying connected to the outdoors in any way, right? Whether you play soccer or whether you're a painter and you just like to sit out in the backyard and the grass and do your thing, right? There are so many ways to connect with Mother Nature. And the way my dad connected, I was thinking about this today when I was editing video. I was thinking, the way my dad connected to Mother Nature was a lot different than the way I connected with Mother Nature. My dad was a commercial fisherman. He loved hunting. For me, it's walking in forests. I love walking along the rivers. I love rocks and bottle digging and getting my hands in the dirt, right? But it's the same thing. We're connecting, and even though as a human species, I think that we've probably forgotten how to communicate with the earth. I don't think the earth has forgotten how to communicate with us. And no, even though Cindy is not going to have a conversation with the tree, right? Maybe those other parts of me, right? And being that ancient, the trees would know, wouldn't they? Right? And but I don't put much thought of it. These are just things, as we're talking, and just kind of pop into my head. But it is something, right? These are the kind of things that we should be thinking about, not thinking about what we're doing on Friday night, or I gotta paint the house or mow the grass, right? When you're mowing the grass, that's when you can just go in and think that way. I love doing small chores and just being with myself. I get so many great ideas, so many great insights, and today spending that time with myself, and I would just like, there was pressing. Life is life, right? Life is what happens to you while you're making other plans. And I was in my mind over things, but I got the job done. I knew what the task was at hand, and I just said, and it just kept my mind off things that it could have easily compulsed and stressed or worried about, right? Could have kept me in a mindset where I'm just right depressed and sad, and I'm mad at myself for not doing what I said I was going to do. And I did. And that's amazing, right? And that's amazing. But that happens because I try to stay balanced in that way, that I'm getting the outside and the inside. So tomorrow is an outside day. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go walking somewheres, right? But I'm going to spend a little bit of time outdoors, and I don't have to worry that I'm not in a forest, I'm not on the back roads, or I'm not out on the highway, or I'm not sitting in the middle of a provincial park, right? That somehow nature, the weeds, you're right, the branches of the trees that whip me in the face as I walk by them because I'm not paying attention, that's all connected. Even the breeze and the birds, and right, just It's ancient. It's ancient. It's always been here, right? And I think sometimes it's very beneficial. What that benefit is, right? I I have no idea, but I know I feel good. I know I feel balanced. I know I feel like everything is going to be okay. When another part of me says, "Oh, Cindy." Right? Hannah, I focus on small things like the air, clouds, birds, or the way the light hits the tree when on a hike or walks. Hannah, exactly 100%. And that's the way you're supposed to be doing it, right? Don't space out on what's artificial and what's not real. Space out in what's real. Let the wonder and the curiosity. And when I say wonder, I don't mean, oh, I wonder. I mean, the wonder, wow, right? Like when you see the chipmunks and the squirrels, and right, that gets me every time when I see the leaves falling from the trees. Oh my goodness, gets me every time. The smell of the rot of the mushrooms in the forest and the dampness. Oh my goodness. And that takes you places, and that's, it feels good, and you might not know in the moment what exchanges are going on, because again, it's so ancient, is right, Homo sapiens, we've forgotten what it is. But kind of trust that maybe, right, the trees themselves still know how to do it, right? And because I'm only human, right, there really is that necessity in the moment, right? You never know. Change is always happening to me. I really hate saying one day I'm going to do this, and then 5 minutes later I'm going, oh, no way. I'd much rather do that. But again, that's just our life. But you're 100%, Hannah. Connecting with nature is the absolute best. And the thing is, you can feel that we are being drawn to connect with our phones and the technology. And that's coming from somebody, I love technology, but I use technology, right? I'm not in the content because someone or something is vying for my attention. I am feeling out and I'm expanding in what I'm feeling out. And again, if it didn't serve me, if I felt that I was going down the road, and I have, right, I have no problem in stopping what I'm doing and going a different way, right? You adapt, you conquer. This is a brand new age that we live in this digital age. But, being out of that generation that, games didn't have an opportunity to get its claws into me. I was already a young adult when Nintendo came out, that, it didn't interest me. My younger sisters and, right, even my mom and dad, but they were already housebound. They, right, with the disabilities and stuff. So and they were always been homebodies anyway, but you know the technology just never interested me. It was just um a glorious fluke, right, that I got pulled into it, right? That, when computers came out, I piddled around, I figured it out. I still type with two fingers, right? And I take my time with everything, and I use um, word spellers like Grammarly, and right, and I use the technology, and it's really wonderful that I've been allowed to learn at my pace. I understand I'm not a computer genius. I'm not technically inclined that way. I did not have fun editing my video today, but most people wouldn't even know where to begin in editing a video. And here I am. I'm going to be 64 years old in a week, right? So I think that is pretty neat, and at the same time something to be, that word that I gave you, Hannah, wonder, not I wonder, but wow, 64 years old, and she's a YouTube creator, or she's 64 years old, and she knows what she's doing, because there is a lot of work and setup, right? But after a while, when you get it set up the way you want to, you can fly with that, unless YouTube says, okay, we got a new regulation, and this happens all the time. But this is a good thing, because this is change, this is innovation, new ideas, new things to try out, and old things that didn't work out to go on its way, right? And I love technology. I really do. But I've been, right, I'm not going to say that I haven't been sucked into the scrolling, because there have been times that I have. And recently, something that I got sucked into has ended up in my feed again. And the only way it will stop is if I stop going in to watch it. So now, as of this moment, because I'm calling myself on it, right? Not in a punishment kind of way, but in an understanding that's not good for me. I've got better use of my time. I could have had my video finished an hour or two earlier if I hadn't been distracted by what was going on in my phone, right? But I got it done. I'm proud of myself. And for somebody like me, it was like pulling teeth, right? And I know I'm supposed to be positive about it, and I went slow. I took little breaks. I gave myself little rewards. We got the job done. It's not quite 100% done until I hit that public button, but once that's done, you guys, so come in tomorrow and you guys will see my next installment. We're just going to go for a walk. 50 minutes. I was only there for one day, and my video is 50 minutes long. Yeah. But that was only because I thought we were going to get torrential rain and I wouldn't get any footage. And I'm glad that I did at least go out and get explored. But oh boy, I almost got lost on that one. And it was just a campground. I almost marked on the video, you guys, this is the point where I was, right? I was never coming back. I knew it when I was watching myself go down the trail. I said, Cindy, what are you going down there? You know you're not going to remember you know you're not going to remember this. I'm thinking on the screen. And sure enough, I got totally lost. And if I hadn't bumped into those boys, I would never have remembered that set of stairs that I climbed up. It wouldn't have even crossed my mind. And when I walked by that trail, I would have been so freaked out because I was so lost that I wasn't going to go down some unfamiliar trail, because I didn't even remember going up it. Remember? No, oh, well, yeah, talk about it because you guys haven't seen it yet. But if you guys come in tomorrow, I should have it uploaded if I go into the work right away after my live show is done and get most of it set up. I can just get up tomorrow, have a cup of coffee, and then just hit that public button. You don't know. I still got a thumbnail to do too. But you guys, we're just going to grab a card. First perspective. It is, right. I give it full credit there, to have that kind of magnificent come into my life. And that Mother Nature's always been with me, and I'm grateful for the lessons of my dad, even though he was the hunter and the fisherman and I was the walker. I just love forests. I just love forest walking. I even love just sitting on the rocks and staring off into a beautiful landscape, right? But then you can just shoot right into your, and you can be there in a heartbeat, right? Where you say feel safe, where you feel welcomed, where you feel is absolutely the most beautiful, most calming, most perfect spot that you can be in the world, right? And that's the truth. We live in a world where we're so confined by all the hurry scurry that just wants to bump up against us, right? It's a beautiful thing going out into the parks. I just love my provincial park tours. I just love them. Yeah, I'll be doing them for as long as I can walk. And if I can't walk, most of these parks now are handicap accessible. And if I can manage, right, then everything there is accessible to me, right? Even going into the water. Probably wouldn't do it by myself, but right? Everybody likes camping. I know when I say go camping, everybody goes, "Can I come? Can I come?" No, nobody could come. That's the gift to myself. Okay, you guys, one card. We're just gonna go into it for. Oh, hi, Earl. We are we are behaving. We are behaving. We're just about to pull a card. I was just saying I just finished the video for the next provincial park that I'll be posting tomorrow before noon for sure. And it was Erin Provincial Park in Ontario. It was only there for less than 24 hours, but it was a beautiful park, and I had an amazing camp spot. The whole campground was mine. It was amazing. Yeah, it was an amazing trip all the way around. But you wouldn't know it for every little catastrophe that hit me, right? And I just kind of let it bounce off of me. It was like, for me, it was a fair trade for, like what Hannah said, to just be able to connect with Mother Nature. I'm not complaining, right? I got this beautiful view to look at. I'm not complaining. I got a campfire, got my camp stove, I got a cup of coffee, right? I got the squirrels and the chipmunks, fair trade, right? And just looked at it. Just looked at hello, dear. Um, I just looked at it like that, and we got through it. And I didn't even know that my glasses were destroyed. Like, I'm editing these videos, and I just say, "Oh my goodness, you destroyed your glasses very early on your trip." I have no idea how I destroyed them. Probably from that window, that the window water repellent that I put on my sister's car windshield. I probably got it on my glasses. Yeah, it totally destroyed my glasses, because when I had to take it off, because I couldn't even see, it was like wax paper. And so when I because you're supposed to put it on clean glass, number one, my glasses were dirty because it was all sweating and stuff from cleaning her car. And then I put that stuff all over the dirty glasses, and it was just like putting a lacquer over a painting. It's going to last 100 years. Yeah, I got it off, but I took the what do you call that, light resistance off of it, the reflective coating. I took off it. Okay, you guys, here we go. First perspective, just a couple of minutes, and we're going to call it a night. I still have a little bit of work to do in getting my video ready for tomorrow to be listed. Aww, I like this one. This is something I try to do, and I'm grateful, because I very early on bumped on into some of the most amazing networks and stuff, and I could do the circuit no problem. Not like get up on the stage or anything like that, but just to hang out with everybody and that energy. And I love entrepreneurs, and I just like it anyway. And I've been to a couple. I actually talked to my nephew because there's somebody, Degrassi is coming here to Winnipeg in December, and I says, "Oh, do you want to come with me? I mean, you could go together." He says, "Oh, he's really not my thing, right?" And I get it. If I want to go to these events and stuff like that, I got to trust that probably there isn't going to be a lot of people, that'd be interested in going to the same thing as me. But they're out there, right? But I don't see them. I'm in my own I'm in my own lane doing a few things, but there are a few people here in Winnipeg, and I follow a couple of them, and they do amazing work in what they're doing, and they're doing pretty good too. Yeah, very impressive. Okay, genuine genuineness is being comfortable enough to be yourself is something that I appreciate. Uh, it's from the training of my childhood, I guess. In wanting to be invisible, but being the obese kid, being the first one somebody's looking for as a target, being invisible was not really a luxury that I had in my life. I've always been a focal point, a conversation piece. I've always been also somebody who wants to be seen and wanted to be heard for the right reasons, right? I was always defending myself and stuff. So there were always those opportunities to be upfront and you know that bit of hypervigilance in my own safety. We'll just say it like that. And it built up experience. It built up qualities and tools that I can utilize now in that. And because I've always been, right, somebody who wanted to be invisible. I didn't want to be noticed, but I was noticed, and I had to get comfortable with that, right? I had to accept it for what it was because I couldn't react to every sticks and stones, right? I couldn't I right? So, and I couldn't be invisible, so there was a lot of acceptance on my end. Acceptance, is a very strong action word if you can do it. It is difficult to accept. It was difficult for me to turn the other cheek, and I believe another reason why I made it as far as I did is because I right I never well, I'm not going to say never. I lots of times turn the other cheek, right? You try to listen to the rules, right? Follow the rules. But, lots of times, you're not going to, if somebody pokes you in the forehead, you're not going to poke them in the forehead too, right? Right? Two wrongs don't make a right. But for myself, in not wanting to turn the other cheek, I would make sure it was understood at the very least. I saw that, right? and that's the truth. And I have to remember that, that these are parts of me. And I shouldn't reject and give myself heck when I do that, because these are features that mean me well and do me well. It's not like, that, that it just wants control that way. It's true, because sometimes I'm so tripping over myself, not paying attention, staring off at the stars, beautiful landscape, that I don't see the dangers, right? And that's the naivety in me, right? That sometimes I get so wrapped up. You see that video that I did yesterday? I went for a walk. I took everybody with this walk. It's going to be in my walk with me, Cindy Jean, because it was so much walking. And I went on a hike, and I'm watching it myself now because I'm editing the video, right? And I could see the corner that I took. I could see the moment that I knew there was no return, that I had gotten lost And I'm wandering around for another half an hour in this walk that I took with everybody and didn't even know I was lost. That was so into the walk that I was. I was just staring off. Right? Everything caught my attention as, oh, just as long as I'm back to camp by dark, and here I'm going and there was, what do you call those? Labyrinth, right? It was like a labyrinth. There was no way I was getting back. And if it hadn't been for those boys that I bumped into, very surprising because we were going into evening. It was getting dark already. There was no reason for them to be there. And there they were. And I said, oh, can you help me? And they had no idea too, right? And then somebody says, well, maybe it was those steps. And I heard the word steps. And I went, oh my goodness, I did come up some stairs, didn't I? Yeah, because I'm not paying attention, right? But that's being human. That's We're not expected to be absolutely perfect, right? I obviously didn't have the answer on that one. I was absolutely clueless as to where I was, right? Genuineness is being comfortable enough to be yourself. It took me a long time, you guys. It took me over a year to even come in front of the camera. If you want to be a YouTube creator, I just say just get right into it. You're not going to be a YouTube superstar unless you're good enough, right? And that's a truth, right? With any business that you enter in, but you don't get good until you enter into it. And I'm so grateful for these platforms that allowed me to practice my craft, that I just get better and better all the time, even if it's just my own. That's not true, right? But isn't it amazing that I can sit here and I don't have to be all prim and proper and read from a script and, oh my goodness, I've got my live show to do in an hour. I better go get ready, right? Instead of just sitting here, have my cup of coffee, go, oh, time to go live, and hit that live button and not even be concerned, right? And I think that's the kind of person that I'm meant to reach, because we know what's important. We don't worry about the little stuff, right? We don't worry about the little stuff. It's the big stuff, it's the meat of it, it's the answers, it's the comfortability, right? Yeah. And, I don't know about you guys, but I sure would like to do that with Genuine. And I think for most of the creators that I do follow, right, I follow them specifically because, I spent some time getting to know them, right? And you can, if you're paying attention, you guys, if you're paying attention, you can get to know anybody. And if they're consistently online, right, it's not hard. But lots of times we get so sucked up into the video games and the television shows and house projects and stoking the furnace and bundling in the blankets and staying comfortable, that we're not appreciating being outdoors. And, part of this brand, in these conversations, it's when I'm not outside. But sometimes that outside, most of the time, that outside is for me. It's in that connection, right? That those moments of understanding will come, and those moments of going, everything is going to be okay, right? Everything's going to be okay. It was a toughie edit today, but we got it done. If you guys want to come in tomorrow, take a look at it. Let me know what you think about it. It would be much appreciated for sure. Uh, I think Cindy is a genuine person. Oh, thank you, Hannah. Cindy acts from her own internal compass rather than trying to meet others' expectations. I do believe the world runs on majority, so I have to run in that flow too, as everybody else does. I can't just go totally off the cliff and do my own thing, but as much rope that I can have and as much appreciation and understanding that, what I bring to the table is going to influence other people who have given me their time, even in this platform of YouTube. So I represent there too. But that was really nice of you to say, Hannah. That was really nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Awesome, Earl. Okay, you guys. Give me the thumbs up before you head out the door. If you're just getting up in the morning and starting your day, I hope you have an amazing day. I will be back. You guys, 9 p.m. Central. I will be back. You guys, take care.